we asked our 10,000 traders was, what's been the most impactful habit for optimizing your trading performance? For about 7 months now, I've been hosting Get Funded University, which is a free, completely free trading community based on futures trading, specifically about prop firms, right? Getting funded capital for prop firms. We've grown to a little bit over 10,000 members right now. And during these 7 months, I have been continuously asking our members, right, different questions, different polls, just to understand what their point of view is, what they're thinking about, and how they're actually going through this trading journey. Now, a lot of the questions, a lot of the polls that we are going to go through in this video, you might have asked yourself as well, or you might have experienced yourself and be like, oh my God, am I the only person feeling like this? Or are there other people like me as well? Now, trading sometimes does feel lonely. So I hope these polls and these questionnaires, right, that our members have already answered make you feel a little bit better, make you feel a little bit more included, like you are not alone in this space. Okay. So without wasting any time, let's jump onto the first one. Now, before we actually go into the specific question, this is one of the first polls that we run into our community just to understand what type of traders we're dealing with. So I asked them, what stage are you currently in? 60% of these members, right, are still trying to get funded. 25% of these members are funded trader but not have been paid yet. And 14% of them have gotten funded and are getting payouts, which I think it's a very, very high percentage, right? If you look at other communities, if you look at other numbers out there, a very, very small percentage of this are already getting payouts, right? So 14%, in my opinion, is a very, very high number here. Now, keep this in mind. This was in September before Top One Futures was offering instant funded accounts, right? So these 60% of traders who are still trying to get funded, those traders could just get instant funded capital with Top One Futures today, okay? Let's go into the next one. Your first funded account. We asked them, do you remember how much money you spent on challenge fees before you got your first funded account? I was just trying to understand, okay, how much are these people actually spending before they actually get funded? So $0 to $500, 47% of our members, okay? $500 to $2,000 is 26% of our members. Over $2,000 is 17%. And then we also added an other. It is 8% here, which, some people were not even funded yet or had spent, even more than 2,000, in very high numbers. Important to say that, half of these members have spent less than $500, which I think is very positive. But going here into the 2,000s plus of that 17%, I feel like it's too high, right? If you are spending over $2,000 just to get your first funded account, in my opinion, it's too high. You need to slow down or use smaller accounts, right? And that could be an issue as well when it comes to copy trading. A lot of people start copy trading right from the beginning, which in my opinion, it is not recommended. You should only start copy trading when you already have a proven strategy, you have gotten funded, and maybe you also have gotten paid. That's the moment you should start copy trading, really. Next poll here. And guys, there will be 15 polls in this video. Forgot to say that at the beginning of the video, but 15 polls we will be looking at today, okay? Some have longer answers, some are shorter, right? Then I asked them, what's hurting your performance the most, okay? When we look into trading journals, if you guys are already, keeping a journal, whether that's a paid journal like TradeZilla or you have your own Excel spreadsheet, you always start from the big two ratios, right? Win ratio and risk and return ratio. Ask them, when you look at your trading performance, what's the conclusion that you come up to? What's one thing that if it is slightly better, it can have a major impact on your overall trading results? 28% says win rate, and 64% of them said risk and return ratio. The 8% said, I don't know, I don't track my performance, which, it is low, 8%, but I'd rather that have been zero, because everyone should be tracking their performance, whether that's just as a beginner and you're just tracking your P&Ls and you're keeping a very, very simple journal, or that you have been trading for a few months and a few years and you are keeping more an advanced journal, looking at trade durations, looking at trade times, looking at the trades in detail and so on. Looks like the risk and return ratio is the most important one. And I would say at a degree, coaching clients for 4 to 5 years now, I have seen that to be the biggest problem. Majority of traders do have a win rate above 50%, which is okay. My benchmark is actually 60%, but a lot of them do have it above 50, which is good. The risk and return is where a lot of people struggle. And that is just because of the emotions that get into the game. Because now it's like, hey, are you actually having trouble keeping your winners running or keeping your losses too long and not cutting them in time and so on? So looks like the majority of them want to focus on that risk and return. I would say that is the majority for a lot of traders out there as well. The next poll here, which we also ranked it as the tightest race, in between the answers, is I asked them, what are you struggling with, right? So, what have you struggled the most in the last 3 months? 22% of them says not being able to accept losses. 25% is selling winning trades too early. 24% says second guessing when entering positions, and 27% had other areas that they were struggling with. Now, we called this the tightest race just because I want you guys to also understand that everyone deals with trading differently. There might be 10 traders or 10,000 traders like in our community, dealing with issues and problems, but we're all dealing with it differently. Even though we might have a losing day, we have to understand why we had that losing day and try to learn from it. So I'm just trying to show you guys that you are not alone, right? Everyone is having problems and everyone is having different problems. Okay. And that's why when it goes to like buying courses and buying guidebooks, I mean, we even gave like Get Funded University. It's a free community. It's a free course because at the end of the day, it's not the course that makes you a profitable trader, right? That gives you the foundation, that gives you the strategy. But at the end of the day, it's you, right? It's you managing with your emotions, managing yourself, and trying to become a better person that actually makes you successful at the end, right? And there's not really a course that will teach you every trader how to deal with what they're struggling differently. Okay. Because that's what it comes down to. Everyone deals with it differently and they have to be taught differently. Right. And there's no way a course does that. Next one, I asked them, longest time you've stuck to one system or strategy, right? I said, I see so many traders constantly changing up their system. Just when things start to work for them, they add another indicator or a new strategy and end up starting from scratch all over again. I'm a big believer in do more of what works. So I asked them, what's the longest time you've stuck to one system? 4% said 0 to 7 days, which, I thought we were going to get the 0% on the poll there, right? Because if you're changing a strategy every 7 days, I mean, it's pretty insane. 22% says 7 days to 2 months, which in my opinion, it's still low, right? 33% says 2 to 6 months, which is, better. And 39%, which is the highest poll here, which I am happy, right? I am happy that this answer was the highest percentage, said 6 months plus. In my opinion, you should be testing a strategy, using a strategy for at least 6 months for you to be able to say, okay, does this work for me or not? Okay. Because the markets are always changing. So there's not enough time in that, 7 day period or 2 month period for you to actually test things out because you are seeing so many different markets and you're not really getting that consistency which you're looking for. Next one was the reminder to clean up. I asked them, how many indicators do you currently have on your chart? And, probably ask yourself as well, look at your chart. How many indicators do you have? Answer the poll below, and then I want you to actually go look at those indicators and think about how many of those you actually look at before entering a trade. My bet is you're only looking at half of them or maybe less. This is just comes from experience by looking at my own charts or looking at clients' charts as well. 0 to 1 indicator, so basically none or just one indicator, is 12%. 57%, which is the highest answer here, have 1 to 3, which I think it's okay. 23% have 3 to 5, and 6% have 5 plus. Now, in my opinion, if you have 5 plus indicators on your chart, going back to the sentence I said here, to my claim is you probably are not looking at half of them, right? You have them in your chart, but ask yourself, when I enter a trade, right? When I'm clicking the buy or the sell button, right? Am I actually looking at all these indicators or it's just there because I feel like I'm looking at it? 1 to 3, I think it's fine, and I'm happy that was the highest answer here. Next poll here. If you could improve one aspect of your trading right now, what would it be? Improving my entries, 31% said yes. Improving my exits, the lowest answer here. Only 4% of people said improving my exits, which um, it's interesting to see because I would say you really can't improve your exits if you don't improve your entries first. So I wonder if these 31% of people here are focusing on this right now, but then down the line, they might be focusing on the exits. Getting better at managing my trades, it's 11% of people, right? So these are people who have already accomplished the entries and the exits. The entries more, I would say, but they are still focusing on the exits or the stop losses or putting multiple targets and so on. 18% of members says building a stronger trading mindset, and 34% says being more consistent in my trading. To me, this is like a step by step. I feel like this is exactly the order where, you have to perfect your trades, right? And your entries and exits, and then managing your trades, and then building a stronger mindset, and then just being more consistent, right? I feel like this is the order which you need to tackle your problems. Peak performance, I asked them, can you recall your best performing period as a trader? How long did you go without a losing week? Okay. 1 to 2 weeks is 40% of members, right? So 40% of them had the 1 to 2 week where they were winning, right? So they won 2 weeks in a row. 16% of them said 3 to 4 weeks. Only 10% said 1 to 3 months, and 4% of them said 3 months plus. That means that they have been having a green week every week for 3 months, right? 4% is a very low number, right? I feel like this is the top of the top of the top, right? Because having 3 months plus, right, of no losing weeks is pretty amazing, right? Obviously, there could be red days in between. There will be losing days for sure, but still having a consistent week by week, which in my opinion, that's what's important, right? Um, Everyone's gonna have a losing day, right? Everyone's gonna have a losing day. As long as you're green at the end of the week, you're green at the end of the month. That's what is really important. And then 30% of members said still working towards my first green week, which is, I feel like 30% of these members are still working towards their profitability, right? Next poll here. If you had a time machine, if you could go back and change one thing in your trading journey, what would it be? 33% of members said started with a better education. I put GFU there, right? Get Funded University. I feel like we have done a pretty amazing job on creating a course and building a community that will lay down a good foundation for a lot of traders. So I'm happy we had 33% of members think that. Um, 6%, which is the lowest answer here, said practiced more in a demo account first. I have mixed feelings, I would say, for demo accounts, just because we are in this age where it's so easily accessible to get a prop firm account for very cheap, right? For like $20, $30, that I'd rather you guys practice there compared to a demo account, because at least that is somehow real, right? It's in between, right? I would say demo account is completely fake. A prop firm account, you're in the middle. It is stimulated, but you can also get real capital from it. And then you have the real accounts. So I'd rather you be in the middle, so you have some skin in the game. So it's not just completely a demo account, and it's a game, really. The highest answer here of 36% was focused on risk management from the start versus looking just at profits. Oh my God. I mean, this is probably one of the my recommendations that I would have for beginner traders is just focusing on the risk management. The profits will come. The money will come if you just get the risk management right. Only 9.87% said avoided following other signals blindly, which I was really surprised about this, because majority of traders do start in signal rooms and they get a very bad experience from them, because, all of those, majority of those signal rooms are delayed anyway. So you see, other people making money, but you're losing money at the same trades, and it's a very frustrating process, actually. And then 13% of them said other, so they had some other opinions on it. What advice can you give to new traders? We actually ranked this as the strongest community agreement on advice, okay? Where basically the biggest advice here, 40%, almost half of the members said prioritize risk management over trying to hit big wins, which is very similar to the previous poll that we looked at, right? 18% said focusing on mastering one strategy before exploring others. Agree. 10% says keeping a detailed trading journal from day one. Not so happy why it's only 10% of them. I'd rather this have been, more equal, right? That rather than 40% being on risk management. But all these answers are good, right? All of these answers are good, but um 18% said be patient, don't expect results in a few months. So this is more setting those realistic expectations, which is, another positive. The next question that we asked our 10,000 traders was, what's been the most impactful habit for optimizing your trading performance? Okay. 12% said keep a detailed journal to document thoughts and emotions during trades. 26% says analyze losing trades to identify patterns. 7% said track performance metrics like win rate and risk and return ratio. 15% says developing a pre and post trading routine. And the highest rating, the highest answer was 32%. I haven't started optimizing my trading performance yet, which if I put some background noises, it's going to be like, wah, 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 right? Why is it so high, right? Why are 32% of traders not optimizing their trading performance yet? Is it just because they don't know how to? Is it because they don't find the courage to start doing it? They don't have the time, or what is it, right? But not happy, I would say, with this poll because optimizing trading performance should be very, very, very important. I wouldn't say in your beginning stages, right? Because there's nothing to optimize. But if you've traded for a few months, I mean, that is the most important thing you need to do. And next, we introduced something new called ROMO, hashtag ROMO. How long did it take you to grow out of old FOMO and now only rely on ROMO? So the relief of missing out. So if you've been trading for a while, you know what FOMO is, right? The fear of missing out. We want to do something different. We want to do something new, and that is the relief of missing out. 16% of members says less than 12 months. 8% says 1 to 2 years. 17% says 2+ years, which I feel like that's where, majority of traders should be. But in fact, 56% of traders said, I still have FOMO, help me become part of ROMO, right? So for any of you guys who are struggling with FOMO right now, again, you're not alone. Majority of traders still do struggle with FOMO, even after 2 years, right? Even after 2 years. Next poll that we asked our traders was, what's really holding you back from scaling your trading, right? I was curious. First one, I don't trust myself yet with a second challenge funded account. Only 5% of members said that. So a lot of members are, playing with multiple funded accounts and multiple challenge. The highest voted answer here, almost 50% of members, right, said I'm inconsistent, still figuring out my edge, which it was expected, right? I feel like a lot of people are still here where they have a strategy and they are just testing things out, and they really haven't found their consistency yet. I keep switching strategies too often, 7% of members. I'm profitable, just need more confidence, 17% of members. And fifth one was, honestly, I'm just starting out right now, just 22% of members. So 22% of members are still just figuring out things right now. They're not really focused on scaling, right? Next question that we asked our traders was, which part of your trading routine do you feel like needs the most improvement right now? A staggering 60% of members answered trade execution and discipline, right? Risk management came in second place, 18%. Sticking to my daily trading limits, only 2%. Post-trade review and journaling was 15%. And then we had 4% as others, right? So it looks like the majority of traders right now are more improving their execution and their discipline, right? So basically sticking to their plan and actually executing properly based on that plan. And the last poll we have recently asked our 10,000 members, which is a fun poll, is what's your go-to vibe while trading, right? So is there any correlation with your trading vibe and your trading profits? This was a little bit more all over the place, but 35% of traders said total silence. I need full focus. And that's me as well. Like, I do not need anything on the background, right? Not a single noise when I'm trading. 22% says chill music or lo-fi beats, which, I could go with that. Hype music keeps me locked in. Only 3% of members. These are like the hardcore members. 13% of them said financial news or podcast. I'm not sure about a podcast by financial news. I was doing that in my beginning days, but it was a little bit distracting to me. And then 25% of members said, doesn't matter, I'm in the zone either way. These are the traders where even if you are in the middle of Times Square here in New York, they're still trading with full focus. Those were 15 handpicked polls that we have asked our 10,000 members. I hope you like them. This is one of those videos that for you guys to understand a little bit of how other people are feeling, right? Again, I know trading is lonely. You don't have many people in your community, in your family that are trading. So this is just trying to understand, okay, are there any people like me? Okay. Again, Get Funded University, it's a completely free community that we host, guys. All you got to do is go to getfundeduniversity.com and we'll be more than happy to welcome you into our big family. And as always, feel free to like, share, and click the subscribe button. It does help the channel a lot.